Was there ever a time where you wanted to check out? You wanted
Every
to quit?
day. It was my first nighttime jump in full combat gear and equipment. I'm falling, and I knew something was wrong, and I can hear people as I'm following, pull your reserve, screaming, pull my reserve. I'm all tangled up and tied out. My gun, a Mark 48 machine gun, is flung out somewhere and lost in the field. I landed on one leg, tore up my pants, had no weapon. It was brutal, man.
It sounds like RASP is the biggest kick in the ass out of the two.
100%. 100%.
So I'd like to revisit RASP. I mean, how long is RASP?
About a month long.
It's a month.
Yeah. Oh, a RASP now? I'm not sure. It's over a month. When I was going through, it was a month long. No days off.
What does that entail?
Oh, yeah. Monday through Monday, physical, like a beatdown. It really kicks. So for you guys, you have Hell Week, and for us, we have Cold Range. We march out, I believe it's a 12 or 15 mile ruck to Cold Range, and the time limit given, which was like, I forget, 3 hours, 4 hours, and I forget the time hack for it. But we make it there, we march out there. A lot of guys normally don't make the time hack. So you've lost, let's say, 10 guys out of that portion. You get to Cold Range and there's no like facility you live in. It's all outdoors and it's just like Hell Week, I guess, minus the water and all the boat carrying. Like we carry logs and a lot of running, a lot of just physical beatdown. You do land nav, there's no sleep. You sleep maybe out of the 3 days, I believe, 4 days. Maybe we slept once, but it was a short sleep. I remember during Cold Range, just like mass exodus of guys just quitting. 10 one day, 20 the next day. And for me, it was like, I thought that I was going to be that guy because I looked at everyone else and I'm like, man, they're taller. They are built like, rest his soul, Pat Tillman. Like mini Pat Tillmans, like football players that are built good. And I just wasn't built that way of, what I expected a Ranger to be or a Spec Ops guy.
I mean, Rangers do have a stereotype of being skinny, wiry,
and short
individuals.
Yeah. I've always got SEALs to be the opposite. I think to be a swimmer, I always thought you had to be like Michael Phelps height or whatever. But yeah, I can tell a Ranger out of a crowd. There's a very distinct personality and look. But yeah, so it was just a mass beatdown. And
we're talking like a 90% attrition rate.
Yeah, it was brutal, man. It was brutal. And it was the biggest shock for me, but everything was kind of like a blur. It all blurred together of no sleep, little food, and just a continuous just beatdown, man. Physical beatdown. Everything's hurting. Everything hurts. You're never on time. Nothing's ever good enough. It was just a massive smoke fest. Like you might get put in a room and do push-ups for, a few hours until the room sweats. That's what we make it rain. So bunch of guys in a room sweating. It's hot, humid. They crank the air up or turn the heat on, and it looks like it rained in there. There's just so much sweat all over the place, and sometimes you'd have condensation build up on the walls in a small room. It's stuff like that. A lot of running. It's like every Ranger was a marathon runner, and I was never built to run like that. I could do my 5 mile in 40 minutes. I'm like a 38-minute 5 miler, and that's like my max. The mile runs those guys could do, the fastest I've seen was like a 5:30, 5:20 something, 5:30 something.
Shit.
And fastest I've ever got was like a 6:30. And it was on one occasion, fluke of nature, maybe the clock was wrong, but that's the fastest I've ever been. I'm normally a 7-minute guy. But and Rangers just run and run and run. And that's what I didn't like about it. Was that's all we do for PT, and that's all like we focused on was the endurance and long distance running. And I hated that. And ruck marches. A lot of physical beatdown. And like I said, by the end of the class, it was dwindled down to 6 guys, and we had the rollover come in the last portion.
Is there any team events?
Are there any team events?
Yeah, in RASP.
Not
It's all
really.
individual.
Yeah, it's pretty much individual. Like especially at land nav and night land nav, and yeah, I would say it's a fair amount of just being by yourself or doing things to a standard just for you, as opposed to a team. And if one guy messed up, then the whole class would get, in trouble for it. But at the end of the day, it came down to just who wanted to quit and who would not quit. They had like one event at Cole Range where we're standing in formation. We had just got done getting our balls smoked off, and we're standing in formation outside of the big tarp trucks, the deuce and a halves, and the instructors are by this big barrel fire, and they're cooking and roasting hot dogs, and they had pizza out there, and they're like, all you have to do is just come over. We know you're hurt. We know you're sucking. It's cold. Just come over, got hot coffee. We got pizza and hot dogs for you guys waiting on the other side. But if you come over here, you can't come back. And a few guys left to go get the food, and that was it for them. They told us to all get on the back of the trucks. We're heading back, and they drove around for like 30 minutes. And you think you lost all concept of time. So you're thinking, oh, we're finally going to go back and hit the sack for a little bit, at least be in a room on a nice bed. And we drove around for a little bit, and they opened the tarps, and we're still at Cove Range where we started off at. And that was a big demoralizer. So that more guys quit after we arrived back at Cove Range, got smoked some more, got back on the trucks, and then we finally went back to the barracks. And
Was there ever a time where you wanted to check out? You wanted
every
to quit?
day, every day.
What
every
kept you
single
going?
day. Watching other guys quit. Watching other guys quit. I would, I guess, not feed off of it. I guess you could say feed off of it, where at least I wasn't that guy. So if I wasn't that guy, I can go a little bit longer until maybe somebody else quits. They can't have us all quit. I just have to outlast that guy or the next guy or someone else. But every single day I wanted to quit. More so in Ranger School, but every day I wanted to quit. I think I was just too stupid to even do it at the time. Too much ego to get up there, and you get respect for quitting. They respect you, and they don't treat you and call you names. They don't treat you bad. So it was more so of an ego thing for me of not wanting to quit. But yeah, I wanted to every day.
Interesting. So they make it appealing to quit.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Huh.
So that was the biggest thing about RIP. And I think that's what I think made it hard too, is it was different than basic training. You're more on your own, and you're given a set of instructions to do something, and you do it. You're not like in basic training where they hold your hand the whole way. It was different in that aspect too. And just how mean they were. Like, these guys were demonic, it felt like. I was terrified of Rangers going in. I saw a guy with the tambourine. As a kid, avert your eyes, and I would always say to myself, oh my gosh, this guy's probably killed people. And that would terrify me, because a Ranger to me always looked very neat, very, very neat, very well put together. And knowing that this guy, or thinking that, this guy has taken a life, was like weird to me. It scared me. So I was always scared to look these guys in the eye of, that. So I was scared of all my instructors.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move forward again.
Mm-hmm.
You're checked in. You're at 3rd Ranger Battalion.
Mm-hmm.
Time doesn't slow down, and really, you shouldn't either. We all sit around and say, oh, I'll get to that later, but some things shouldn't wait, like protecting your family's financial future. Fabric by Gerber Life is term life insurance you can get done today. It's made for busy parents like you, all online, on your schedule, right from your couch. You could be covered in under 10 minutes with no health exam required. Fabric has flexible, high-quality policies that fit your family and your budget, like $1 million in coverage for less than $1 a day. If you have kids, and especially if you're young and healthy, the time to lock in low rates is now. Join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to help protect their family. Apply today in just minutes at meetfabric.com/srclips. That's meetfabric.com/srclips. meetfabric.com/srclips. Policies issued by Western Southern Life Assurance Company, not available in certain states. Prices subject to underwriting and health questions. What's it like when you meet your team?
Terrifying. I heard a mass, like a stampede, coming through the barracks. They're screaming, loud, doors being kicked, and they're screaming, "Where's the fucking new guy?" And I'm huddled in my room, sitting on my bed, terrified. I'm like, there's no way they're gonna find out I'm in here. And all of a sudden, I locked my door, and I see my door shaking, and they're picking the lock. Then they kick my door open. All these guys come in and they flood my room with beers in hand. And like, you gotta drink all this. So I'm looking at them, I'm like, I'm not even a drinker like that. I had like one Heineken in Airborne and I hated it. So now I'm stuck with this room full of Rangers shoving beer down my mouth and throat. And let's take that back. That sounds really bad, but they're giving me a bunch of beer and stuff like that to drink. And I remember getting just absolutely shit-faced. And that next morning we had to run like 6 miles and me throwing up. But it wasn't as bad as I thought. It was just terrifying that these guys, in my mind, all just came back from killing people in war. And
Had they?
Yeah. They were in Afghanistan during that time, and they did a few recovery operations with the SEAL team. And most of the stuff in Afghanistan, that's when they were getting into more of the direct action type stuff. So they were upping their package and their amount of combat that they did see. Prior to that, it was a lot of working with Delta and pulling security and stuff like that before, I guess they got their hands full, Delta, and we started picking up the more direct action and purely just direct action raids, and sometimes doing side-by-sides where Delta's hitting one building and we're hitting the other building and, working with them in that nature. Yeah, it was terrifying, but also at the same time, I felt like it was good to be a part of a group like that. I just wasn't sure if I could hang because they were animals, physically fit. And I had no idea if I was going to be able to even keep up with these guys. So I thought my time was going to be short-lived because like these guys could be hammered one night and the next morning running 6-mile runs like it's nothing. And it was, I didn't think I was going to be able to keep up with these guys. And then we went on to the training cycle, 6 months training cycle, started off with Airfield seizure. And that was my first introduction. This was like a few weeks after I arrived. And my first exercise was taking over an airfield and had no idea how to do it, except for how to jump out of a plane. And it was my first nighttime jump in full combat gear and equipment. And as a new guy, you're stacked onto this C-17 and the Humvees are in the middle of the formation, lined up on the bed of the C-17 and watching them get sucked out the back ramp. As a new guy, never seeing this, my mind's blown of like, wow, this is pretty neat. I'm actually doing like cool guy stuff. And it's time to jump. My first jump in battalion, I'm weighted down. You jump out into this pitch blackness and my risers got stuck under my left leg. I ended up tumbled through my risers, and I get a cigarette roll. So I'm falling. And I knew something was wrong because I can still hear the wind of the whistling of the wind and the black figures, bodies like passing me at a higher rate than what I knew was, not right. And I can hear people as I'm following, pull your reserve, screaming, pull my reserve. And I watch this thing come out like slow motion and it, comes out and I'm looking down. I don't have much room left, maybe 500 feet. A little less than 500 feet or so, and I'm coming in on the tarmac, the runway. So I'm trying to slip and pull my risers on my reserve, but those don't steer the way your main parachute will. And I'm all tangled up and tied out. My gun, a Mark 48 machine gun, is flung out somewhere and lost in the field. It popped out, and yeah, bad experience. I landed on one leg, tore up my pants, had no weapon, and I show up to the rally point in the middle of this airfield, about to take over the airfield, and I'm mimicking like I have a gun because I didn't want to say, hey, I lost my gun. As a new guy, my first jump. So I'm mimicking like I have a gun and hoping no one's gonna notice. And the first thing they notice, like, Irv, where the fuck is your gun? And I say, I don't know, Sergeant, it's somewhere in the field, I lost it. And he blew his lid. So I had to mimic the entire taking over the airfield without a weapon, just nods, a helmet, and yeah, nothing. So got the entire battalion in trouble. We all had to go out there.
Pretty humiliating as a new guy.
Very. And not on top of that, the next morning we had to all get on formation, the entire battalion pretty much, and walk the airfield. While I stood on the back of a truck and watched all the guys look for my equipment to make me stand out. So that was my first experience.
Shit.
Yeah. After that, it was never happened again.
I mean, that can create a lot of hatred.
Oh, yeah. It was a lot.
How did you rectify that?
Didn't fuck up anymore and performed to my best, or as best as I could, not failing anything. I wasn't allowed to. Like, that's the whole, I guess, the big thing about Rangers is the standard. Like, if you mess up a standard or if you don't perform to standard, you get RFS'd, which was released for standards. At any point in time in your career, you can be released. So I guess to rectify that was staying the gray man for as long as possible until my first deployment and keeping my head down and just performing. And I figured, and which happened, was after my first deployment is where I started to get respect and become a part of that team.
No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.